What's going on, Vape fam? What is good? This is Joe of All Vapes coming at you with another box mod review. Now, there are a ton of different box mods out on the market, and there are a ton of different brands. You've got from your top ranging brands like the Rouleaus, the Wismecs, or the Asmodeus, the guys that make like the Snow Wolves and whatnot. Or you've got your custom made box mods, which are a lot of the stuff that I've been reviewing for my March Mod Madness lately. But today, we're going to talk about a little company called the Council of Vapor. Now, first of all, if you've never heard of C.O.V, think about names like the Vengeance Sub-Ohm Tank, the Twisted Messes RDA, the 13 Heavens 9 Hells RDA, or the Trident Mod by Council of Vapor. Trident Mod is an awesome little mod. They are my sponsors, and they supplied me with this little doodad to check out. It comes out in kind of like a gunmetal brownish color, really cool color, really gorgeous. Of course, I've got my big fat 10 milliliter Aspire Mega on this bad boy. Now, I'm only puffing away at about 1.8 ohms, and the reason is I usually hate a tight draw like that, and I mean it's pretty tight. But I've been suffering a little bit of a chest cold lately, so I can't inhale the massive clouds like I'm loving. And believe me, my taste buds are just so off right now. But I've got some good light vapes going on in here that are just kind of replenishing my taste buds, if you will. And it's good enough that we're going to be talking about the different forms of functions, the different memory settings, and just playing around with this a little bit better. Take it for a little dance around the block, and I'm going to give you a close-up view onto this little Trident mod and show you a little bit more about what goes into this guy, and you can make an informed decision for yourself and see if the Trident mod from Council of Vapor is good for you. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is just kind of take a look at the overall style, shape, and form and mechanical function of this bad boy. I'm going to bust this Aspire off and just give you kind of a better idea as to the ins and outs of this guy. Now, first of all, spring-loaded 510 connector. Very small top to this. As you can see, the Aspire Mega, which is pretty much the biggest of the big that you're going to get, is going to go a little bit past the width of the top portion of this, but with a spring-loaded 510, you're pretty much constantly guaranteed a good and solid connection. So you're definitely not going to lose any conductivity. You're going to get a solid fire and hit every time within just a few seconds. So number one, here's basically I think the coolest thing about this is not for upgrading your software or anything. This is a charge port, so that is a very cool thing about this. And you're wondering, okay, what's this little guy right here? You know, I mean, what kind of battery does it require? You know, so let's check this out. You have your little slide panel right here, little slide button. Slide that over to the right and just pull this guy off, just like that. Simple as that. So you can see the LED interface. Got the up voltage button right there and the down voltage button. And here is your 18650. You can see I definitely don't spare any expense on the name brand stuff, you know what I'm saying? So single 18650 on this guy, positive on the down, a little bit of a spring-loaded positive connector piece right there, and your flat negative. So slap that bad boy back in, take your little piece right here and just slide it. It ain't going nowhere. It's good to go. Got your little Trident logo on the side here, and I really dig kind of that gunmetal grayish brownish awesome color. So we're going to take a look at the functions of what it is that you can manually do and adjust within this awesome little box. So first of all, this is manually adjustable for the power and temperature control. So temp control, basically when you're using the nickel plated wires that are going to be rated up to something like 500 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. Not a ton of people worry too much about the temperature adjusted function of this, but if you did kind of want to push the threshold a little bit, do your math, do your research, and just kind of look into stuff like that. We're not to get too much into that right now. We're going to kind of keep it simple. First of all, the fire button is pretty much what's going to be the main function of being able to adjust whatever it is you need to be adjustable on this box. So, but right now it is in the locked position. I'll show you. See that little lock? Boom. That means you can stick this guy in your pocket. You can depress the fire button, the up voltage, down voltage, nothing's going to happen. So the way that we get that off was we press the fire button in succession, rapid succession, 3 times. And there you have unlocked it. and then it'll show us everything that we're talking about. So 15 watts is the setting that it's at right now. Goes all the way up to 9.99 ohms because there's nothing attached to the 510. And then, of course, you've got what's left of the voltage on the single 18650, 3.94 volts. Powerful is basically the power setting on the fire button, because a lot of some of the high-end brand boxes, kind of like on my Coupor, I have different functions from minimum to maximum and light and normal and whatnot on the firing setting. The way to adjust that is pretty darn simple. So we'll wait for that to go off, push it back on again. What we're going to do is we're going to use the voltage down button right here. And just press that. We get from soft to standard to powerful. And like I said, that's going to adjust the amount of power that's going to be going into your coil via the fire button. Typically, most of the time when I'm working on anything between a 0.3 to a 0.5 ohm coil, I can stick it comfortably on soft, believe it or not, with a full battery charge of anywhere between 3.94 to 4 volts, and you're really good to go, believe it or not. If you get it all the way up to powerful, that's cool too. It kind of depends on the quality of the aftermarket coil build, depending on how much vapor you're going to be getting. You know, I mean, it's really up to you. You can kind of, you know, do whatever you want on that end. So as you can see here on the side, you see a little M1, and that is meant for a memory function. Now the memory functions are 5-fold, so you have 5 different memory functions set at pretty much whatever wattage that it is you're looking for. So say you have 5 tanks, for instance, and you have, you know, a different coil build for each one of those tanks. This Aspire Mega Tank, I've got the 1.8 on there, and you can't really go any higher than about 15 watts. And 15 watts is actually pushing it on that one. I was just kind of playing around with it a little bit to see how much power I could push through that coil before burning it out, you know what I mean? I'm always testing stuff out. And 15 watts still gives me a decent amount of vapor. Like I said, it's a hard draw, but it's just about what I can use right now in my lung capacity. So you can obviously bump this up. And the one question you've been asking yourself, Joe, why the heck haven't you talked about wattage? This box will get you up to a comfortable 60 watt cap out. So you've definitely got a decent amount of power for a lot of coil builds. Now, is this box for the serious cloud chasers? I don't necessarily think so, but if you're a newbie and you're looking for something very slim, very compact, very light, and very, very easy and fun to use, this is definitely going to be the box for you. The one thing that I really super love about this box, ergonomic is all get out. I mean, it feels kind of like a set of brass knuckles in your hands, you know? It fits so darn well. A lot of the time I like to hit the fire button with my index finger. You can do that too. Typically I don't with this just because it's so small, so light and convenient. I can stick it in my pocket and I can just, you know, fire away and you're good to go. So let's talk about the memory functions first of all. So you want to change the memory functions. So let's say we want to set that to powerful. Okay, at 15 watts. Now what you're going to do is once you've set it to powerful, push the fire button once and then press on the up voltage button. And you can see it scrolls through each wattage setting from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with your memory presets. And let's say once I've got it to the 15 watt memory preset, I want to switch that around a little bit. Immediately go to the down voltage button and you're going to get this screen that shows the current wattage of that memory setting. So basically what you're going to do at this point is if I want to bump it all the way up, let me just hold that down. And as you can see in rapid motion, it's going to crank it all the way up to 60 watts. If I want to bring it back down button, obviously, right back down to 15 watts, press the fire button once. Once again, you can scroll through what you have right now. Again, press the fire button again, and you can scroll through the power options of the fire button. Okay, so that is basically everything in a nutshell. It's pretty simple to figure out as far as that is concerned. But let's say you want to play around with the temperature control functions. You want to get a little bit into the nitty-gritty of it. Easy enough done. Simply take the fire button and in rapid succession once again, tap it 5 times rapidly with it on. And what it does is it takes you to the toggle screen. First of all, this is basically how you shut the thing off too. If it's on, you press it 5 times in rapid succession. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring us back to that screen. Down voltage will turn the system off. At this point, you would hit the fire button. Boom. There it goes. Off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brings it back on. You see the Council of Vapor Trident logo. Right back to where we started. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. System on, system off, system on, system off. System on is where we want to keep it. Then you hit the fire button to agree with that. Now we've got our power and temp settings. Power, temp, power, temp. So let's click on the temp for the heck of it. So you've got the temp unit in centigrade. You've got it in Fahrenheit. Let's say we want to play around with Fahrenheit. Now we can adjust it manually from 200 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up. Let's crank this, crank this, crank this, crank this, crank this to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you wanted to play around with your nickel builds, you could easily adjust those and play around with those to your heart's content. And of course, the memory functions are going to work for these as well as the power wattage functions. Once you've adjusted that, of course, you've got your display right. Oh, and then your display left. So in case you're left-handed or right-handed, or you just feel like you want to read stuff upside down, you can play around with them to your heart's content on that one too. Hit the fire button. Now the bypass off is kind of a goofy little section here. You can bypass this on or you can bypass it off. If you push bypass on, basically what that does is it kind of sets all the functions to like a freeze point that allows you to kind of play around with more functions without worrying about either the voltage up, down, or fire button being depressed and having it ruin whatever it is that you're trying to figure out. So at this point, we've got it set at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. If we want to adjust the power to the fire button once again, that still works. Press that once. Our memory recall comes back up and just brings it up to a standard of 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 100 degree increments. So that's a pretty simple measure on how to adjust as far as the temperature control settings are concerned. The memory settings still work. And once again, you press the down voltage and you can go all the way back down if you want to, anywhere between 600 and 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Boom, hit the fire button, go back up. If I want to change the memory setting again, hit it again, go back down if I want to change the power to the fire switch. So right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going to set this back. Yes. We're going to set it back to power because that's the way I dig it. Display right. Boom. Bypass off, which is the way we want it. Exit menu. And then down voltage button. There we go. Right back to where we started. Back to my 15 watts. Boom. Press that. Down voltage. Switches between the 3 standards settings of the fire switch. Now there is a little toggle. If you take these upward and downward voltage adjustment buttons and press them both at the same time, you can flip the screen that way too. You don't have to go into the personal adjustment screen to be able to do a simple, quick, and easy thing like that. Now, the ease of this thing is pretty ridiculous. Simple functions, simple form. You charge this with basically just a micro USB in charger. If you have a Samsung phone, you know, you already don't have to bother buying another charger, you know what I mean? Single 18650 and a simple overnight charge, anywhere basically between about 4 to 6 hours will give you a consistent charge, and even at a powerful setting of vaping, and I vape this thing up all the way up to 60 watts, and I can get comfortable, smooth, warm, huge clouds out of this guy for pretty much the entire day without recharging it. But typically I always recharge the darn thing every night anyways. We're going to go back to the big cameras and we're going to close this up with the Council of Vapor Trident mod. Hey, practice makes perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'll take a teeny itty bitty little circle over absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? I can't blow a ring to save my life. But the Trident mod, however, does deliver the power. So Let's go over the functions real quick on this bad boy again. Once again, adjustable wattage, adjustable temp control, anywhere between 200 degrees Fahrenheit, cranked up all the way up to 600 degrees Fahrenheit, which gives you the ability to play around with those nickel coil builds if you want to get a little bit crafty. And of course, you've got the nickel aftermarket coils, so you can kind of play around with that a little bit. I like to keep it just good old-fashioned power setting and adjust it anywhere between 1 to 60 watts, which is pretty much going to take care of the majority of most of the high resistance coil builds out there. I mean, typically I'm keeping this thing at about 0.3 to 0.4. You can even bust it down to 0.2. You know, 60 watts on a 0.2 to a 0.3 is still kind of the low end of where you want to be going with that, but it'll still create a solid amount of cloud. I used to vape my Vengeance sub-ohm from Council of Vapor, as a matter of fact, on this bad boy, and that ranges anywhere between, depending on the coil, 2 to 3, 0.2, 0.3, 70 to 100 plus. So it is a little bit on the low end with the highest power setting on this, but I still got solid warm clouds from this guy. So ergonomic design, really sweet design, comes in this cool little gunmetal brownish color, Council of Vapor logo on the front and the Trident mod logo on the side. Now you're going to find this guy retail on most online web stores from anywhere between about 45 bucks on the way low end, which is, you know, a solid deal. If you can find one for about anywhere between 40 to 45 bucks, you're getting a massive deal. Typically these range around the 65 to even $85 range. And a lot of the time that depends on the web store that you're buying on. So definitely scour the internet, find the best deal. Council of Vapor makes really solid products, as I've said. I mean, you can definitely afford this one. You know, if you can save up and afford a $200 mech mod, this one is definitely one of those that you're not going to regret buying. It is super sweet. It's awesome. Great and powerful little box. Easy to control, as you've seen. And, you know, you switch it 3 times, lock it up, stick it in your pocket, you're good to go. Even my 1.8 ohm coil, my teeny little cloud builder, is working solidly. I can still get some fairly decent flavor out of there, and you know, you're good to go. So I want to wrap this up by saying Council of Vapor is definitely an awesome company out on the vaping market today. Definitely suggest you guys go onto Instagram, check out their page at the Council of Vapor, and look at all the pics. Check out, you know, just the different kinds of products that they sell, from RDAs to tanks, the different mods. They have tubular mech mods, as well as the mini volt, that cute little guy that busts up all the way up to 40 watts of power. That thing's only about that big, you know, and I've seen rave reviews on that guy. Hopefully I'll be able to bring that up for you in the future. We can do a review of that. And I think there are a few pictures of me. They've graced C.O.V Vape with a few of my pictures on their page, so definitely check that out. Give them a follow. Go into the councilofvapor.com. There you're going to find a much better layout of a lot of the great products that they have out currently on the modern market of C.O.V. So definitely check that out. It's a good little website. It's pretty easy to navigate. I want to thank Council of Vapor for being so patient with me and supporting of C.O.V Vapes. I really appreciate what you guys do. And if all of you guys dug this review, please spread the word here at C.O.V Vapes on YouTube, and check out my Instagram page at C.O.V Vapes_2. I've got a fat giveaway going on right now, and one every concurrent month till Kingdom Come, till I've got no more stuff to give away. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be a while though, so definitely check out that. This was a nice little additive to my March Mod Madness campaign going on right now. And of course, March Mod Madness is bleeding into April, which I already predicted. Got a ton of great custom-made box mods coming up in the future. You guys have seen the past 3 that I did. If you haven't, shame on you. Definitely go into the video section of my YouTube channel here and check those out. Those are pretty cool. And I've got some awesome discounts and surprises available only for my YouTube subscribers. You know what I'm saying? As a personal thank you. So keep up the faith. Really appreciate that. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in, and I want to leave you guys with this reminder. Keep it safe, keep it humble, keep it loving, but keep it cloudy, always.